But
It's Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and this is Aperture and Shutter Speed, the photography radio show where you can learn and share your love for photography. I'm Chelsea Williams, a professional portrait photographer in Conroe, Texas. If you have any questions or comments during this show, please go to Aperture and Shutter Speed on Facebook and drop us a line. So there's a bunch of things going on today. Right now, the PPA International Photographic Print Competition is going on. And I love it. My Facebook page has just been blowing up in my news feed with everybody talking about what merits they've gotten and what they submitted. And several people have gotten 4 out of 4. And it's just really neat. And here in a few minutes, we're going to talk to Karen Butts, who is there in Georgia at the IPC. And she's also going to juror school. And she's going to step out of class for a little bit to tell us all about what's going on at IPC and the print competition. And then also later in the show, I'm going to talk to Gayle Fisher, who is in the Learning Differences community. And she does all sorts of things with the special needs groups. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about the best ways to take pictures of special needs children. And I know just some things that maybe we haven't thought about before as a photographer, some things that just don't come to mind right away. She's going to give us some tips and help us out with that. Now, if you're looking to learn a little bit, there are a ton of things going on to get involved in. So right now, the Woodlands Photography Club on August 8th has a club meeting at 6:45. And August 13th, they're doing a field trip to the Houston Maritime Museum at 4 o'clock. And that's just woodlandsphoto.org, I think. The Woodlands Camera Club, it has at August 14th, composition, the fine art of seeing from 2 to 4. And August 15th, processing your photos from 7 to 9. And that's the woodlandscameraclub.org. And if you remember Kathy Adams-Clark, who was on our show last year, she does wonderful nature photography and all sorts of amazing things. She's got some classes coming up that you definitely should go register for and check out. August 17th is photo critique and discussion. So if you've been taking photos and you just want some constructive criticism, that would be a great class to take. August 20th, she's doing basics of photography. So if you're just getting started. And August 23rd is making money with your camera. So I definitely think that would be a good one. Any way to monetize your passion. So go to kathyadamsclark.com to register for those classes. One awesome thing that's going on that's going to be free is Gary Hughes. I met Gary Hughes at Summerfest this summer here in Conroe, and he did a headshot workshop. And he's a big headshot photographer in Orlando. He's got a Creative Live class going on that will be free on August 4th and 5th. You do have to go to creativelive.com and register for it, and it's only free if you watch it live. Afterwards, you can still watch it, but there is a fee. So definitely go to creativelive.com, find Gary Hughes on there, sign up for his class, and it's all about earn more money by offering editorial portraits. I'm already signed up, and I can tell you all about it next time. If you're a PPA member, there are free webinars that they do. And August 11th at 2 p.m., they're doing volume preschool daycare photography, preparing for busy season. So just go to the PPA website and register for that webinar. I love stuff that you can do at home and you don't have to drive anywhere. You can just watch it from the convenience of your house. Also, registration for Imaging USA is opened up. Imaging USA is actually going to be in San Antonio this year. How exciting. I've never been to Imaging yet because it's always been all over the country. And I'm definitely going this year because it's in Texas. There's no excuse. It's January 8th through 10th. So go to imagingusa.org/register. And let's see, TPPA, you want to register for Photogenesis. So tppa.org, Photogenesis is September 30th through October 2nd in San Marcos. Also, if you want to learn a little bit more just at your own convenience, and, like me at 2 a.m. when when everything's quiet and that's the only time you have. You can watch PhotoVision for free with your PPA membership. If you're not a PPA member, you can still watch it. There's just a small fee. So it's streaming, and you can go through and find different genres of photographers, people in different niches, and they kind of take you through their studio and walk you through a photo shoot and what they do. And it's just a great way to learn, and on your own schedule is the best way. So definitely check out PhotoVision through the PPA. So what I ask every week is, what kind of pictures have you been taking lately? I want to see all your fun summer pictures, so post them on Facebook. Tell me what you've been taking pictures of. I want to see all your pictures. For me personally, I had the most fun last week at a nighttime mermaid shoot. It was just a blast. So my friend Diana is a photographer who specializes in underwater portraits, and she flew in Shannon the mermaid, who is a professional mermaid, to take underwater portraits with her clients, and also have Shannon help turn a few of her clients into mermaids, which was really neat to watch. And Shannon did a great job, like helping them with the tail and putting weights in there for them and stuff. And Diana does everything underwater. She has no interest in anything above water. One night she invited a few photographers, just a handful of us, over for a fun photo shoot with Shannon. And poor Shannon, we put her through it. We made her do a lot of work. She did a lot of swimming so we could get that mermaid feel. And it was actually just in the backyard pool of Diana's house, and it was so fun, and it totally brought out the child in me, because who doesn't love to see a mermaid, right? And what was really cool too is I got to bring my daughter Cheyenne. She's almost 8 years old, and when I told her I was going to go photograph a mermaid, she still asked, is it a real mermaid? My answer was, it's a professional mermaid, which she didn't really understand what that meant until we got there. So I was busy taking pictures of the mermaid, and Cheyenne was coming over, tugging on me, saying, where's my swimsuit? Because I knew I'd brought it. But, I was taking pictures, and I was not really trying to figure out where her swimsuit was. And that didn't stop her. She just got in with her dress and her clothes and got in the water with the mermaid. And she could not stay away. She just wanted to get as close as possible. And Shannon was so sweet, because she took some really cute pictures with Cheyenne. And the other photographers there thought it was adorable. They took pictures too. And Suzette Allen, who does a lot of video, and she does the live photo stuff, she took a video of Cheyenne talking to Shannon and the mermaid, and so they were sitting next to each other, and then Shannon did some stuff where she was acting like she was trying to figure out Cheyenne's feet, because she's never seen feet before, and it was just too cute. And trying to get Cheyenne out of the way after that so we could take a few more pictures was impossible, but it was adorable. And I love doing that. I love doing pictures just for fun, just to have something creative, let your creative sparks fly. And just the colors and stuff we got out of it were beautiful, because we really started taking pictures around dusk, and the light was gorgeous, and then it got pretty dark, but we were able to use just the lights in the pool to illuminate it, and it was still just gorgeous. We had these blues and yellows, and it was beautiful. So Diana will be here in the studio with us on August 16th to tell us all about her specialty in underwater portraits. I saw some of them where there was a young girl who plays golf, and she did like an underwater golf shoot with her golf club and balls and stuff. I thought that was so cute. Anyway, so you definitely want to tune in when Diana's on the show and hear all about underwater. So we're going to take a little bit of a break now. When we get back, we're going to have Karen Butts on the phone, who's live from International Photographic Competition. She's going to fill us in on all the excitement. So stay tuned. You're listening to Aperture and Shutter Speed.
Lone Star Community Radio is FM. That's right. Set your radio dials and your button presets to Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1, coming in June of 2016. To celebrate this edition, and the addition of video versions of our talk and music shows on YouTube, cable TV, and Our City TV, we are offering special sponsorships rates, which include free audio spots that are played throughout our broadcast. Interested? Check out our sponsor rates for shows just like the one you're listening to online at irlonestar.com/sponsor, or call the station at 936-647-5747. Reaching the people of Montgomery County with Montgomery County's community radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Chelsea, and I'm here with Karen Butts on the phone. And Karen is at International Photographic Competition in Georgia right now, and she's in juror school to learn how to judge prints. So thank you, Karen, for taking time out to talk to us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It is the Professional Photographers Guild of Houston. I'm a member of the Professional Photographers Guild of Houston, and I'm here in Atlanta at the Professional Photographers of America International Image Competition. And this, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm so excited. There are probably, I heard a little more than 5,000 images that have been entered into the international competition, and if your image receives a merit score, then it is also judged by a lone panel, which means the lone images are published in a coffee table book, and it's like the best of the best award that you can receive from the Professional Photographers of America.
Right.
And receiving these merits is how you earn your points towards receiving your Masters of Photography. You have to have 13 merits in the competition, and you receive 1 merit, and if it goes lone, you receive 2 merits for 1 image. And you also have to have educational merit. So it's a combination of showing your work and also of continuing your education.
Right.
And once you receive those 25 points, then you become a master. And the judges school that I'm in right now, you, in order to be an international juror, you have to be a master photographer. And we will be in school for about 4 days here. And we've learned about all of the 12 elements of a merit print. And they've already thrown us into mock judging. And we are experiencing exactly what the judges are going through when they do the actual international competition. And we critique the images on the 12 merits and give it a score. So I kind of haven't given you a chance to ask me any questions.
No, you're
Go
answering
ahead,
most
Chelsea.
of my questions already. I did want to congratulate you, though, because I know you can only submit 4 images in a case, and you got 4 out of 4, right?
I did receive 4 out of 4, and I'm still awaiting the images to go before the lone panel. And 2 years ago, I received gold. I was a gold medalist, and the year before that, I was a gold medalist, which means I went 4 for 4 with 2 images selected for the loan book. And then last year, I was a platinum medalist, and that means I had 3 images selected for the loan book. So there's only one step higher than that, and that is diamond medalist. And of course, that's my goal this year, but I'm a little concerned that that's not going to happen. But still, going 4 for 4 is like a really big deal.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well,
Go ahead.
I don't know. I think you could do it. I think you would definitely be a diamond medalist. But either way, I think it's just amazing learning and growing every year. You're doing better each year that you go.
And it's really not it's not about receiving the awards, it's not about competition against your peers. You are not competing against anyone but yourself.
Right.
And the reason that we do it is to gain knowledge, to improve our images, and raise the level of photography as a whole across the board. And PPA is a very good organization to belong to if you're interested in photography. There are state and local organizations who are affiliated with PPA, and I would encourage anyone from the Houston area to consider checking out Professional Photographers Guild of Houston, and that website is ppgh.org, and we invite anyone to come as a first-time guest for free. You can check us out without being out any money, and then you are also welcome to attend as a guest until you're ready to join. Once you join, the educational opportunities in Houston are outstanding. We're one of the strongest guilds in the nation, and we not only have monthly meetings, and we bring in speakers from all over the country, we also have workshops. Sometimes they're all-day workshops. Sometimes they're just half-day workshops, but they're more hands-on, and you can get in there and experience something new with an instructor right there ready to help you and answer all of your questions.
Right. Y'all have had some really phenomenal speakers and instructors, and I think that's such an awesome opportunity for anybody in this area.
Most definitely.
I did have a question. Is there a way for people at home to watch the judging that's going on right now?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Yes, there is. Go to the PPA website. I believe it's ppa.org. I would imagine that that's what it is, .org. The end of it I'm not sure of. But look for live streaming, and you might even just try a Google search on PPA live stream or live streaming, and that should get you to the link. You do not have to be a member of PPA to watch the live stream, but once you go through the appropriate login channels, however you get logged on, it's amazing because you will be able to see the images that are before the judges.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, we've had some technical difficulties with the audio, but when everything is working correctly, you should be able to hear the discussion taking place that the jurors are having about the image.
Right. And
yeah, it's such a wonderful learning tool. I can't encourage you enough to check this out.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the neatest things to do. If you've never competed, or if you're, in competition now, still just watching it. I know the first time I ever watched judging was at Summerfest, and that's on a much smaller level, but it was still very helpful to kind of hear what the jurors were saying and, why they critiqued him in certain ways. And it really gets you to help understand what they're looking for in a print competition. And
most definitely.
I think that's a great way. And the fact that that's free, that you can just watch, and so you can feel like you're in the loop even though you can't be there. I'll figure out what that direct link is, and I'm going to post it on Facebook so everybody can kind of watch the judging that's going on.
Awesome.
So I know you can't talk a whole lot about your juror classes, but so you're already a master photographer because you're doing the class, and y'all are trying to learn about the print elements. Can you give us any tips from a juror's perspective on what to do for an amazing image?
Well, I would suggest the PPA website will also have this information. They will have the 12 elements listed, and then there will be an explanation about each of those 12 elements and most images have most elements in it, but the images that have more of the elements represented in the image, usually the higher the score.
Right.
You know, when I first joined the guild, I was afraid to join because I didn't think I would meet the guideline requirements. But my favorite thing was print competition, and I would sit there in the corner, a little mouse in the corner, and watch and learn. And I learned so much by watching, but honestly, once you get your feet wet and your image is before the judges panel, you learn so much more when it's your image, because what happens so often is we can see what's wrong in everybody else's image, but our images are close to our heart, or you have a vision in your head of what you wanted the image to look like, and your mind kind of tricks you, and you think you're seeing what you want to see,
right.
but it may not be what others are seeing.
I think that's especially hard if you're dealing with children, like your own children or grandchildren, because you're like, this is just a perfect image. Everything about it is amazing.
Exactly.
And somebody else looks at it and they're like, well, you could fill in some holes here and there.
Right. And they really say, don't enter images of someone dear to your heart.
Right.
But I've risked that, and I have 4 grandchildren, and 2 of them are in the International Loan Book, different books. But it was a risk that I was willing to take, and now that 2 of them are in the book, I have 2 more grandchildren, and so now my goal is to break the rule and try to get an image that goes loan with the other 2 grandchildren.
Yeah, you got to have even all around. You can't show favorites.
That's right. I can't play favorites.
Well, I know the PPA puts the 12 elements of a print in a certain order, but, I went to Mark McCall's photograph print comp boot camp, and his mind, the number 1 was storytelling. And I thought it was very interesting listening to the judging of how many times they were like, yeah, but it has a great story. There might be a few elements wrong with it, but if it had a great story, they bumped it up. And I just thought that was interesting that PPA didn't put that number 1, but maybe other people do.
Well, I learned something in this judge's workshop that I also thought that the list of the elements came in order of their importance, but at the judges' school, they're telling us, no, they all have equal value.
That's interesting. That's interesting to think about.
Yeah, right.
Well,
now, in a particular image, you may have, emotion is very important. If the image stirs an emotion inside of you, it's going to have more impact. And honestly, I think probably different elements have different importance based on who the person is. Mm-hmm. Technical people that are really good with all of the perfect lighting ratio and all of the other, the density and the value, all of that, those people that are very good with technical probably weigh the technical aspect in an image a little heavier than someone like me, who is more into the artistic and the emotional value that I see in images. And that's one reason that they have 6 jurors on one panel. And they plan those panels very strategically. They know the jurors very well, and they try to create a diverse panel that will cover all aspects, like from they'll put a judge on there that's very critical and harsh, and then they might put at the other extreme a juror that is more of a softie, and there'll be a strong technical person, and there'll be perhaps someone who is skilled in the artistic side of portraits. So they just create a diverse panel to give the images an equal chance.
Right. And I love the fact that they can bring it up for discussion. If it didn't get the, number one of them thought they should get, they can kind of bring it up and talk about it again and explain why they think it's better for whatever reason. And so definitely I'm going to find that link and post it so everybody can kind of listen in, even if it's just for a few minutes. Gives you an idea of what's going on. But I really appreciate you taking time out. I know I know that you've been so busy with class and everything that's going on. I appreciate you taking time to talk to us about it. And when you get back, I want to know how many of them went loan. And I want to see your beautiful paintings.
Well, thank you so very much for having me. I'm very excited about I did receive a scholarship from PPGH to attend this school, which I felt very honored to do so. And one reason I'm here is to give back to our guild, and we really want to have qualified jurors on our local panel, even though what we do is really just for practice. It helps you get your feet wet for the state, the district, and the international competition.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. If anybody wants to hear more about PPGH, you can go to our archives on irlonestar.com and listen to the interview I had with Terry Whitaker, who's the president of PPGH, and that gives you more in depth of what we're talking about here. But it's definitely something that you should check out. Getting involved in your local guild is a great way to just learn more and be involved. So thank you once again, Karen.
Okay, well, I better get back to class.
Okay, thank
you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. Stick with us, everybody, and we'll be right back with Aperture and Shutter Speed. And we're going to talk to Gayle Fisher, who's going to talk to us about tips to photograph special needs.
We're starting to film our talk shows and putting them on YouTube. Your favorite Lone Star Community Radio show can be seen on YouTube under our Lone Star Community Radio channel and on City of Conroe's Our City TV channel on Suddenlink Channel 12. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the most recently released videos and find more information online at irlonestar.com/TV.
/EMC News.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I am Chelsea Williams, and I'm here with Gayle Fisher. Welcome, Gayle.
Well, thank you, Chelsea. Lovely to be here.
Gayle's going to give us a little tips and a little bit about what you do in the special needs community and how involved you are and how you're helping in areas that need to be helped, and maybe give us some things that we don't, as photographers, don't usually think about in photographing special needs children.
Oh, I'm glad to do that, Chelsea. Something that Karen had just said is, does the image strike your emotions? And for us families whose children may not make perfect pictures in the eyes of others, there still is our story. That was something else you were talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think you said that you had portable gear.
Yes. So I used to have a studio in Conroe. And for me, I enjoy my flexibility now. But I still have all my studio lighting, and I have my backgrounds, and everything's portable. And so it's, I have studio, will travel. It's pretty much what I do. And so there has been situations where I go and I set up in a client's home or living room. And there's one particular client I have that I've set up my background, my lights, but we do it in her living room, and she has a favorite episode of Sesame Street, and it makes her happy, and it keeps her comfortable, and we photograph her there so she can hear it, and so she can, kind of see it, and she's nonverbal, and, but her family just loves just having an image with her, and just having a chance to have her in it, because they tried to do another photographer that wanted to do outside in nature, and she just didn't go for it at all. And I think a lot of that has to do with talking to the parents ahead of time. You have to talk to them about their specific child and what their needs are, what you can do to make it more comfortable and easier for them. Because several years ago, I had a special needs child in that they don't handle flashes well. And, you got to think about that for people that have epilepsy or anything like that, that you can't do flashes. And so there's ways to work around it. You just have to definitely talk to parents. And for me, I have, questions that I typically ask, but I think even for me, there might be things that I'm not thinking to ask. Maybe there's not things they're thinking to tell me. So really, I just wanted to cover some of that today. And just, I personally know that a lot of families that have special needs children never get a family picture because it's just too stressful. They don't want to mess with it. And, maybe they've tried before and it didn't turn out right. And it was just too hard. And I think that's sad. I think everybody should have, any kind of picture of what their family is. It maybe not be what I would have envisioned, but maybe it's what they're envisioning. Maybe it's their family because it's perfect for them. So I know you have personal experiences with the challenge of special needs children, and my niece and nephew are special needs, and Lord knows trying to photograph them is challenging, at least. And just trying to get a beautiful family picture is very meaningful. So, okay, I'm going to open it up. You can tell me maybe tips or strategies or anything that you have.
Well, you bring up a lot of really good points there, Chelsea. So with your skin in the game, with your niece and nephew, right, you've learned what would make them comfortable. And you also said that it helps to talk to the parents and the families to get a feel for the surroundings and the comfort zone of the child or the children with the different sensory issues. And I think that's really wise. I'm sure that helps you get beautiful pictures. It won't be, the time will go by, and the families that think they have to wait for perfection will miss the pictures. They'll miss the memories. And, it's just is what it is. And it'll be their individual stories. And so I think that's wonderful that you encourage them to get the pictures. If your child has language, if they can tell you what makes them happy. All right, so now we get into the issue dear to my heart of intrinsic motivation. And even children with learning differences will have things that make them in the flow, bring joy to their lives. It may not be what we would guess, but even if they're nonverbal, they have ways, and the families would have ways of communicating. So asking the parents, where is your child the happiest? Do they like background music? For this one child that you mentioned, outdoors was not a good fit. But for some children, nature is calming, right? And so then someone with portable gear like yourself would be in a really good advantage spot to help those families because you can move around. You don't have to bring the child into a sterile environment, into a mall, or I've tried to do that before. And, it is what it is. But it's much kinder to the child for them to be at peace.
Right. And I think you're right. And, if you can find some kind of music or something that calms them and they enjoy, and that just goes back to talking to the parents, to planning out the session ahead of time. And also maybe preparing the parents for, it's okay if they're holding on to a toy train. Like, that's not going to kill the picture necessarily. I know in an ideal situation, maybe you wouldn't want that, but it won't necessarily kill the picture. And that's just who they are at that stage in their life. Maybe they have an obsession with trains. I know for a while, that was like the one thing that made my nephew happy was trains. Yeah, and I never saw him so focused on anything else. And you know what? If that has to be in the picture, that's fine, because that's totally just who they are at that time.
It goes back to what Karen was saying and you were talking about it's being a story. It's the storyline of the photograph. And who's to know but what that won't become the focal point of the entire photograph, right? To be the memory trigger for all those years. I have a litmus test that I use with my son, who is going to be in 4th grade this year. And that is that if a neurotypical child, a regularly wired child, a kid like your Chelsea, does it, then I'm going to let him do it. So if a regular kid would be holding a toy train, who's to say that's not perfectly fine for a prop, right? And you had also mentioned off camera here that friends can help, or siblings. I find that in many families, the siblings just really get the child. They really understand. And of course, siblings need to have their own time in the sun. And we can talk about that nonprofit in a moment. But there is a very special affinity within families for the siblings to reach into the one's heart. And so I'm sure in some of the photographs that you've taken, the siblings there would help with that child, to just capture the joy of each individual child,
Right.
because they are so different.
Right. And I think a lot of times people get in their mind that a family picture is everybody looking at the camera and smiling. And even in what you're saying, neurotypical families, I try to tell them that's not necessarily the best picture. Yes, we'll try to get one of those pictures, but maybe the best picture is just looking at each other and laughing, or being interacting with each other in some way. And I think being open to taking those kind of pictures where maybe your child is just connecting with you is a great picture too, and maybe that's what you get. That's just wonderful.
And that would certainly be the story. There
Yeah.
would be emotions in that.
Yeah.
I've heard it said that some professional wedding photographers leave one last exposure, and when that final group shot, everybody thinks they're off the hook. He or she snaps that last one, and that's always the best one, because the whole group has entered into a relaxed
Yes.
state. So that's what you're talking
Yes.
about.
Absolutely. And everybody's just let go of, okay, we have to look and focus and do all
Right.
this, and they're not stressed out anymore. And as a photographer, I think a lot of that, not only prepping the child, but prepping the parents to say, you know what, it's okay. We don't have to have everybody looking at the camera, and it doesn't have to be stressful. You don't have to worry about it. Let's just have fun. And I mentioned Suzette Allen before, but she said a lot of times that she tells them to bring board games on photo shoots. So maybe just everybody sit down and play a board game together.
Right.
And maybe that's your family picture. You know, it would be a moment of connection between your family or something. And so I think a lot of working with special needs, it's just, you know, finding the good fit for them. But you know a lot more about all this than I do. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do with your
course.
different organizations?
Of course. But one point you said something that brought up a memory. So that idea of everybody, the utopian picture is that everybody's looking at the camera. But what if maybe it's everybody's looking at, if you want to share joint attention with your child, if the child doesn't want to look at the camera, maybe they can look at mom
Yeah,
or dad.
absolutely.
And so in education speak, that's called joint attention. And so maybe one of the photographs is everybody's looking at the child, or
Yeah.
everybody's looking at the train. It's okay,
Yeah,
right?
it's okay.
So,
And I know a lot of times it's hard for some children to make eye contact.
yes.
And maybe if you just got a picture of them staring in your eyes and smiling at you, or even not smiling, just looking at you, maybe that would be the wonderful picture that you need.
That's right. Because there's many a parent of a special needs child who longs to have a picture of the child looking at them, because this is something that is sometimes hard to find. It's elusive. Back to that joint attention, that shared moment. So those are the priceless stories
Right.
that you would want to watch or have in your photograph album for years and years.
Absolutely. And I don't know, it's just more things to think about there. Just more things to kind of run through of, it doesn't have to be you know, a standard thing of looking at the camera. We're going to take a little bit of a break right now, and when we get back, I do want you to tell us all about the different organizations and things you have for people with special needs and their families. We'll be right back with Aperture and Shutter Speed.
Brought 'em all together for one night.
Here we are, another morning in Montgomery County. It's 6 a.m. and all you can do is think about hitting that snooze button.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, and we are looking for talk show hosts and volunteer DJs for our music shows. Are you interested in having your own talk show on Lone Star, or have you always wanted to live out your dreams of being a music DJ? With the addition of Conroe's FM 104.5 and 106.1 and video aspects of our talk shows, we are needing people to grow with us. If you or someone you know might be interested, please contact us online at irlonestar.com/contact us, or call the station at 936-647-5747 for more information.
Real Texans don't litter. Please spay and neuter your pets.
Welcome back to Aperture and Shutter Speed. I'm Chelsea, and I'm talking to Gayle Fisher about photographing special needs children and maybe what's the best way about going about it. Gayle has personal experience, and she helps other families. She has a website called gettingsorted.com, And from there, you will find immense amounts of resources for anything that maybe you're struggling with if you have special needs or know somebody that has special needs. So I'm going to let Gayle tell us about that a little bit.
Oh, thank you, Chelsea. So in this community of learning differences, there's many, many resources and wonderful professionals and pioneers who've been doing things for years. Many people that have taught classes, written books, teach conferences. And 8 years ago, when my son got his diagnosis, I started to just try to help put these pieces together, not only for myself, but then for other parents. And so you eventually come out of the tunnel, and you realize that there is light, and that people are still around, and a wonderful alternate universe if you have a diagnosis that you're working through of special needs. You and I both belong to a women's networking group, WOMTech, and they are helping to sponsor the WISE conference this year. WISE has chosen one of our special needs nonprofits as one of the charities. So we have a local nonprofit group called Special Needs SIBS. .org, specialneedssibs.org. And what our mission is to help with monthly meetups the neurotypical siblings within special needs families. And then when we do have funds, we offer educational scholarships for these neurotypical kiddos. In many special needs families, there's just not enough time and energy and resources to go around. And so frequently the regular kids might just kind of lack a little sunshine. And so when our group, the WOMTech networking group, was looking for a community outreach, based on some of the research I'd been doing in putting together workshops that I helped teach up at the Academy of Lifelong Learning, I knew there was a group that wasn't being served, and that was these neurotypical siblings. And then another group that is a really key, and a lot of people are working to help them in the community, are the older children with learning differences as they get ready for workplace transition, workplace readiness. A child can attend school, and then all of a sudden school is over, and then what do they do? And depending on what their issues, what their strengths, what their weaknesses, well, we don't really focus on weaknesses, so scratch that. But depending on what their strengths are, what they love to do, what skills they have, then we hope that they would be able to go on and become citizens and live independently. Right. That's what all of us parents hope, because we all know that someday we are going to not be here anymore. So workplace transition is a really key thing for a young person to become a citizen. And there is another nonprofit called OurTrainingCenter.org. And this nonprofit has been set up with the business model of using mentors in the community, professionals who have their areas of expertise, who are willing to offer a monthly offering of an hour of their time. And we have served several of those young people already, and we keep looking for more. So that's another website y'all can check out if you have a young person that's out of school and trying to emerge into the workplace. OurTrainingCenter.org is a resource for you, and we welcome you. The parenting workshops started 4 or 5 years ago when I met Donna Smith Burns during my internship with Education for Tomorrow Alliance. And they were just previously on this, the hour before we are right now. And so her office was right down the hallway from us. And I went by to visit with her, and she said, "You've been talking for an hour." She said, "Could you do that for another hour?" And I said, "Oh, slam dunk, of course." And so she said, well, let's start putting together some workshops at the Academy of Lifelong Learning, housed out of Lone Star College, Montgomery. And so we have grown. We started off with one on learning interventions, and then we added behavior interventions when the gymnastics group that have been helping my son for years and years said, "Gayle, could you please put together a class so that our coaches can go and learn how to work with kiddos that have sensory issues, so that we know how to help them find their peace." So we've just continued to add courses. Sometimes guest speakers come in, sometimes we bring in co-speakers. So that is out for the fall schedule. That's also posted there on gettingsorted.com, and we are sending it out in listservs to the community. The classes, the workshops are active learning, so that means that everybody gets to talk. and share their stories. I more co-facilitate them than anything else. And we offer these to the community, and we have them on Mondays now for the fall semester. And we'll post in the show notes afterwards the links
absolutely.
to these, that anyone is welcome to come. We frequently have professionals, caregivers, and parents, grandparents that come and share their wisdom, because the truth of it is that we all learn from each other.
Right.
Right.
And maybe if you are a photographer that you feel like that's something you want to really get into, of helping families with special needs and photographing them and creating amazing images for them, that would be a great workshop for them to kind of just learn, some great tools to be able to photograph better.
Awesome. How about you help co-teach that with me in the spring?
Okay. I'll be down for that.
I think that's awesome. Many of these workshops have popped up because people have had brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
And we have flexibility there to build a lovely bunch of workshops. They're all listed in the catalog, and we plan ahead for that. So I think that is a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
I'll be honored to do that with you.
Well, my goal is that we can reach all these families that don't have portraits and don't have pictures of their family, and just give them something that they can hold on to and cherish forever.
That's right.
And hopefully getting all this information out there and giving them resources that they can find on getsorted.com. I don't know. Maybe it'll help a little bit.
Well, it helps them feel a little bit more normal,
because
it is such an alienation until you realize that there are many others, and that you are not in the world alone, and that our children need to be in the same world with us.
Yes.
And to know that we aren't alone is huge.
Yeah,
It's huge.
absolutely.
And toward that, with my young son, I've learned from so many people. And I started blogging about 1.5 years ago. And that website is ifwelearndifferently.com. And then following the practice that many other people have done, you take your blog and you turn it into a book. And so I've had this vision for some time, and I'm getting really close to the first volume being completed. It will be an ebook series for portable devices. I still have to figure out the hyperlinks once it gets into HTML through Kindle. So that's what I'm wrestling with right now. But it will be very affordable for families. This first volume 1 will be fitting learning differences into your busy life, and it's entitled No Place to Hide. And the focus are 3 separate chapters on happiness, joy, and motivation, on redirects and boundaries, and then on adventure. And the whole point is what you can do about your child's behavior, reducing your shame, adding back your joy, and dealing with special needs behaviors. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to getting that out, and that will be posted on the websites and our Facebook URLs too.
Yeah, you definitely have to let us know when that's published so we can get it out there. I think it's kind of a coincidence that we're talking about this today, because I'm in a forum on Facebook that's it's like a private group for photographers, and it's all senior photography. And every week they do a different hashtag, and this week's hashtag has been can't remember exactly what the hashtag was, but it was seniors with special needs. And so everything in that group this week has been different seniors with special needs, and just watching it and seeing all the fun things they've been doing, it gives you so many ideas, and it's been so much fun to see it. And so I don't know, I've got some ideas that I want to get out there, so you're going to hook me up with maybe some seniors that want some fun, and I'll use them as my models.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We know, in fact, we have mutual friends that fit that. And I have a lovely lady that I met through a Baylor conference, and she's written a really beautiful, it's bigger than an endorsement. It's several pages, so I'm going to put it as a special prologue to the book. And her sibling is 80 years old with special needs.
Wow.
And they live that long. With joy, we hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out to be with us today and telling us all about this, and giving us photographers a little tip and guidance on working with special needs, and workshops that we can go to if we want to improve a little bit. So I just appreciate you taking time.
I'm very honored to be here and to represent our community, and I'm looking forward to that workshop in the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions for us, you can post them on Facebook on Aperture and Shutter Speed. You can catch us every Tuesday right here on irlonestar.com, and you can catch us always in the archives on irlonestar.com. Until next week, keep on shooting.
Thanks for checking out this production of Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. For more information on this show and other shows on Lone Star Community Radio, check us out online at irlonestar.com. If you're interested in sponsoring a program on Lone Star Community Radio and reaching the local audience of Montgomery County on FM, internet, TV, media, please call 936-647-5747 or contact us online at irlonestar.com. This recording is a Lone Star Community Radio production produced by the show host and Dick Schishler of Lone Star Community Radio. Interested in volunteering as a music DJ or starting your own talk show? Contact Dick Schishler at dick@irlonestar.com or by phone at 936-647-5747.